What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PlayStation Forecast, episode 12, your immediate E3 2018 PlayStation reactions. Sony Japan and From Software are getting ready to reveal a new game, so let's do this together.
Yeah,
and then
one
we'll get
quick
into our
moment.
post reaction. So just 1 second, please. I'm Alex. This is Alex. Mayor Ding Dong Bell.
How's it going, guys?
Touchy.
Touch.
So they're talking over the trailer. I think that's very rude. So we started this at a terrible time. We'll get into this in just a second. They're announcing a new game here. All right. It's pots and pans.
Creepy house.
We're gonna redo this whole intro here in just a second.
Old dude holding small baby.
Yeah.
What?
Is this a new clock tower? Can you imagine?
Did From Software do?
No.
Okay. Just like, did I miss that?
No. We're gonna redo this intro here in just a minute, but we're gonna do this together.
Oh yes.
You and I.
All of us
together. It's a flower blooming on a table. From Software. Deracine. Okay.
Oh, okay. The audio's off.
Audio's way off. Wow.
I was like, say, why are they talking over?
Okay.
Okay.
So, 1 second. We're gonna do this one more time with feeling. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the PlayStation Forecast, episode 12, your PlayStation E3 2018 reactions. I'm one of your hosts, Alex Derrickson, joined this week again by the Mara Ding Dong Touchy Touch Dell, Alex Wolf.
How's it going, guys?
We have not had a chance to discuss the PlayStation conference. It just wrapped up, and then immediately as we started recording this initially, From Software announced a new game, Deracine. The audio was off on the stream miserably.
It was real bad.
it was something else. But so the PlayStation conference has just ended. We've not gotten a chance to even talk about this. So before we get into what they rolled through here and everything, we'll just get right into the rigmarole. This is the PlayStation Forecast, and it does come to you each and every week, every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube.com. If you could help with the short URL, the best thing you can do is subscribe, as always, and podcast services around the globe. And if you like what you hear and you'd like to get involved with the show, the best thing you can do is click the subscribe button. But if you want to get involved, you can write into us at psforms.pressxtoalex.com, which is just a fancy little Google form as I pull up my notes here, that you can fill out to get involved and have your voice heard outside of just mine or on the occasion when I got this young man right here with me. You know, I miss you.
Yeah, I miss you too, buddy.
Yeah, you know, it's 2 weeks in a row.
This has been good.
It's like Christmas. It's like personal friend Christmas.
Exactly.
You know,
Friendsmas?
Friendsmas, we could do that.
Okay,
yeah,
Friendsmas.
Frexmas.
All right.
But if you like what you hear, you can subscribe to the show. It's the best way to support it. Let's just get into this.
Let's dive right in.
So PlayStation had teased going into this they were going to show 4 games primarily. It was going to be Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, and Marvel Spider-Man, which they did. But they unveiled some other games here amidst everything else. How are you feeling coming off of this?
I am pleasantly surprised. So
Same.
When I was told, or when they came out and said there was going to be 4 games talked about, and they were focused on the big 4, I thought we were going to get a 2-hour-long show with 30 minutes of each game, which
kind
I was
of like PSX.
Yes, and I was like, last year's PSX left a bad taste in my mouth with how I kind of went, because I was very much just kind of like, I felt underwhelmed. Well, there was a lot of content and a lot was announced, but it was only for one specific game at a time. Where I'm expecting to go into this, I'm like, give me a reason to keep buying these games. Right. Like, you're giving me 4 things for an entire year. Like, I play more games than that, and you guys are the exclusive juggernauts right now. Nintendo aside, just because Nintendo makes everything in house, for the most part anyway. So I go in, I'm only gonna get 4 games at one of the biggest showcases of the year. That's it. And then half-hour talks and gameplay, and half of it, majority of it probably just kind of redundancy. Like, no, I want, give me surprises, give me new things, and they definitely delivered. So
the show opened here. As we fend off multiple, we've had just a whole host of technical difficulties tonight. So this is a little bit rougher than what we're used to, I think, as we try a bunch of new things and whatnot. But the first thing they opened with was in a tent with Sean Layton coming on stage, describing the location as church.
Yes.
In a way, with some nice like little like overhead like small little lights.
Very hosier.
Yeah, and it was Last of Us 2. It opened with a man playing a banjo, if you will, and it went into a trailer that showed some gameplay, but the big thing was kind of the analog, the dichotomy and the allegory, I guess, of good and evil. As she meets someone, they go onto the dance floor. They have a little back and forth banter. The girl she's dancing with kisses her. She says, "I think everyone should be afraid of you."
Oh, yeah.
It pans around in a circle, and as it comes back around, it's this dark, rainy, dingy, like wooded area. Very gory setting with her immediately slitting someone's throat.
With gameplay. Like,
yeah,
this is...
and it goes into gameplay.
Which is
awesome.
awesome.
We started seeing more of the stealth mechanics of the game. It seemed very akin to the previous Last of Us. The weapon layout, the weapon wheel, I guess, as it were, looked pretty much what we were used to.
A little cleaner, though. I feel like it was a little more simplified.
Yeah, it was a little tighter. Gorgeous.
Oh, yes.
Looked great. Environments looked great. The settings looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
Did anything really like surprise you, or besides the fact you play as Ellie?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there was no Joel.
It was Joel
whatsoever.
So
which
the pervading thing post PSX when they revealed that was that Joel is dead and is gonna kind of be like your Joker in Arkham Knight, where he's just kind of this like this path, like not path, but like this follower that comes to do this transient, a vagabond of sorts that just follows you.
That haunting motivation.
Yeah, the conscience.
Yeah. Yes.
And this didn't do anything to lend into it. The one thing I think, kind of going back on what you said, was that they painted this like this might be a PSX kind of deal, where it was going to be like, oh, here's some gameplay, and then here's some people on a couch, and we're going to talk about it.
Right.
And there wasn't that. We didn't see Druckmann. We didn't see Scott Lowe. We didn't see... later on Kojima or Brian Intihar or anything like that. We didn't see those people take the stage. The only person we saw take the stage, besides the banjo guy and the guy playing the flute heading into Ghosts, was Sean Layton.
Right.
So they did the Last of Us. No date.
No, nah, didn't expect there to be one.
I was hoping.
You think
maybe we might get something? I know kind of incrementally Sony kind of does reveal additional teaser gameplay. Date trailer,
Yeah, that sounds...
They have a pattern they follow, but it seemed like maybe of the big 4, we already knew the date for one. I was kind of hoping we would have gotten, maybe at least a window for one or the other.
Well, we did get another date for the other 3. Hold on, I know I took down here my notes, and I'm surprised I don't remember it for the most part.
Is it Spider-Man? Because we already knew that one.
Damn it.
Because I didn't get a date for...
We got a surprise reveal that had a release date.
Oh, yeah, which we'll get to as we go on. So I was trepidatious with this one starting out, because they do the Last of Us tease, which was in like this like tinted, like almost like outdoor wedding kind of setting, like I said, like this barnish kind of tent. Then they had this weird area where they craned out, and it was Sid Schumann and Ryan Clements and Meredith, whose last name escapes me, and Sean Layton, and then they talked about Destiny 2.
Yeah.
I'm not a Destiny guy, so I kind of zoned out as I was a million miles away on that one, handling some technical difficulties on this end before we just canned the stream entirely.
It was just, so we got a couple things out of that little small thing. So we went from Last of Us straight to the little table, and there's a weird
panel.
That's the word I'm looking for. A nice little panel.
They were moving the crowd to a different location,
which I don't understand. Like,
I thought they were going to do that for all 4 games.
I was about to say, holy shit, that's a lot of money they dived into.
Right.
But we got a couple things out of that. So we got a God of War New Game Plus mode announced.
Okay.
Which I was surprised by.
Sure.
I didn't see, like, I mean, I feel like once you beat that game and collect everything, you're kind of done. So unless it's just like replay it, like people want to try harder difficulties and stuff.
Yeah.
And go in with all their, upgrades, which will be very nice. Especially in a lot of the post-game stuff, if you, for some reason, want to redo that. You've got Black Ops 3
Black
is
Ops 3
free
is
on
coming to
PlayStation Plus later tonight, if not now. Whenever you're watching this, it'll probably be for free right now, which is awesome. Especially.
I mean, we're live right now.
Oh, we are live. This is true. Yeah,
Hello.
okay.
On YouTube.
How's it going,
Subscribe. Help me out. We're so close. We're 31 away
Let's
from
go.
the short URL.
Come on.
Anyways, Black Ops 3 free on PlayStation Plus.
And they announced some remastered maps from Black Ops 1 and 2 for Black Ops 4.
Okay, I
so
missed that entirely.
It was a very small little snippet.
Okay.
And then we've got with Destiny 2, like you said, you're not a huge player. I personally am not.
Warmwind?
What's that?
Warmwind?
Warmwind?
Warmind.
Warmind.
I've been calling it Warmwind.
No.
It's like Assassin's Creed Oranges with me.
No, so Warmind's the DLC that's out now.
Right.
They announced their big Year 2 update like they did with the Taken King for Destiny 1 with Destiny 2 Forsaken. And it opens up with Cade 6 getting, his brains blown and like poof. And then a bunch of Fallen, I think, walking through this gate with a new character I don't necessarily recognize. I'm not a huge Destiny player myself.
The last time I played Destiny, Peter Dinklage was still the ghost. just to put it in perspective of
the Dinkles.
What a Destiny player I am not.
I mean, Northbot wasn't bad.
He was a wizard from the moon. So they moved that as they were moving, and each of these trailers were cut with, I don't want to sit there and then this and then this, but each game was cut with interstitials of things made in dreams.
Yes.
Which my prediction was wrong, because I thought we'd have Media Molecule take the stage, and demo and everything.
How intermittent it was and how much of a presence, however small, but still in between each thing. So you got some visuals and everything.
Yeah.
The fact that we did not get a release date.
The thing I want to touch on Dreams, because I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to sit there and be like, and then a guy played a trombone poorly, and then a guy played a piano, and then a banana played a whatever.
Yeah.
The one thing I do want to say about Dreams while we're transitioning from game to game here is everything looked and felt wholly different.
Oh yeah.
Like it was doing something, it was playing, a certain song, it was playing or doing like a certain action, and I think it's going to be something that kind of goes overlooked as people talk about this conference, is the vast differences each Dreams like interstitial was. And as Media Molecule sits there and says like, oh hey, you can do this, or hey, you can do this, or you can do this, and everything like that, like the campaign for the game was built within the engine of the game. I think that I don't want Dreams to go overlooked in the fact that yes, there was still something impressive there. And that the customization and everything that was there. So that was just something, even if it was just like 10 5-second blips, they were vastly different.
Really speaks to, because it was all created in game, it really speaks
Right.
to like what you can do with that game. So we have a mutual friend who in college and in high school, I remember this, he would bring his PS3 to class.
Why not?
Exactly. And so he would bring it in,
Sure.
and for a majority of his presentations, all of them were done in Little Big Planet 3. Or Little Big Planet 2. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And the fact that this is like, I don't think that was ever like something they necessarily intended for, but the fact that they made it available is huge, and the fact that they made it more accessible in Dreams is really cool.
For sure. The next thing they moved on to was once they got them in where the rest of the conference took place was Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes.
Which is really the game of the four, the one I was most looking forward to seeing more of.
Yeah, we have very little details. We saw it at Paris Games Week last year, and
that's pretty much been
that's it.
Right. Yeah. So it opens, the way the chapter layouts looked, I'd commented that it reminded me a lot of Uncharted in terms of the way it's like this overhead, kind of like, chapter this, title of the chapter. Yeah. This took place on the 9th day of the game, so the game may be broken down by days. It was like the 9th day, then a certain chapter from there. But we got a glimpse of gameplay, the sprint mechanic, horseback riding. There was a light level of companionship, some stealth, and
so a little bit of climbing.
Yeah, a little bit of climbing, and then the actual like showdown between your main character and what was the initial companion?
It was Jen, and I don't remember her name.
Yeah. gorgeous.
Oh my god.
That is a gorgeous, like feudal Japan feels like. So, and I made that comment last week that it's like this is going to be the
year of the samurai.
The year of the samurai games,
Yeah.
and it's not proving me wrong.
Just about what 3 because we had.
I think we're 3 or 4 deep on samurai.
We
games
had
right
what
now.
was it?
Siaiko.
Yeah.
Shadows Die Twice. Seriko, yeah.
Shadows Die Twice. Neo 2 was announced tonight.
Right.
Then with
Ghosts. And so the actual environment for the game is mind-bogglingly just gorgeous.
So when they opened up with the guy playing the pan flute or very long bamboo flute.
It was not a pan flute.
Not a pan flute. It was a long bamboo thing, and he was blowing into
tonight.
it, and it was awesome. And so the background, I'm looking at it, I'm like, is this? I'm like, I don't know what this is. And he goes, Ghost. I'm like, are you sure? That background looks very...
It's the rice patty hat that gave it away for me.
See, and I thought the same thing, but I'm like, no, that art direction looks very different from what we saw.
Sure.
But it was gorgeous once they actually showed gameplay and everything. It fit just, it blew me away.
The one thing, and you pointed this out too, is the trailer, the gameplay trailer ended with this one-on-one combat. I got crazy Jade Empire vibes from it, which I've been itching for a Jade Empire since Jade Empire. So I'm just like, yes. But the one thing that like I loved about it was coming from like a film background and stuff like that. The way it just captured like the absolute majesty of like samurai, like the old samurai films.
Yeah.
And like the evocation and everything like that. One thing I absolutely just like was like jaw agape at was when they were showing down. There's the little pauses between the dialogue as they hesitated to grab the weapons, waiting for one of them to grab the other.
Oh,
as the red Japanese cherry blossom petals just like started coming down. Oh my god,
it was awesome. Because you had the sunset and then the two just side by side.
Yeah, so it's not just a game that takes place in feudal Japan where you're coming back to fight mongrels or whatever, but it's really evocative of old samurai films too, which you can tell where like Sucker Punch was drawing a lot of the inspiration from. Is not so much just within the historical style of it, but with the art direction, the art style of it too. So it's got a very different feel to it than I think we're used to, where like they lean more into like the comic book style that we've seen before with Infamous. This is them leaning more into like, okay, Seven Samurai and like other sort of like, samurai films that take place in that time period.
Right.
So it's a different feel, and I'm really excited for it. Did anything stand out to you?
So it was really cool. So one thing I did notice between the entire demo, there was not a lick of UI shown. There was no HUD. So my biggest question was that due to presentation purposes, or are they going to keep it that clean as much as they can? I mean, it was there. Like you saw, he climbed a rooftop and there was some stealth. The only thing I think we saw that maybe resembled anything with UI was when doing the stealth takedowns, it highlighted what enemy he was targeting. That was it. Anything else combat wise, we didn't see any prompts, nothing. It was very much very seamless. It reminded me a lot of a very clean, very transitional Assassin's Creed 2 combat with parries, and then at some points there were moments that remind me of the fear takedowns from Arkham Knight. Where it would just go from one and then bounce to another into another. It was just seamless one blow hits. So my biggest worry is like, is the game gonna be too easy? But at the same time, I'm like, there's no way.
Right.
So.
I think if there is a heads up display, I think it'll be something you can toggle on and off. Like Horizon had it where you could play without the compass, and
then God of War the presentation mode.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I think they'll probably lean more into that. But goddamn, Sucker Punch! If anyone, from like the guy that grabs the coffee to the guy that came up with the title of Ghost of Tsushima, or the head developer, goddamn, please incorporate a photo mode.
Yes.
Because that is just.
Let me share my photos. Give me a reason to get back on social media.
Let me market your game for you. So moving from Ghosts, we saw Remedy's new game. What was initially known as P7. So this is Remedy's first PlayStation game since Max Payne 2, I believe.
Exclusive wise, I can think of.
Well, Max Payne 2 came to Xbox too.
Okay, then. Yeah. Well, Max Payne 3 then.
That was Rockstar straight up.
Oh, that's right.
So Remedy, I think this is Remedy's first console, like PlayStation console game since Max Payne 2. It was initially known as P7 because it was their 7th project. It's being published by 505 Games, and it is called Control. It's coming out in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot to really dig off of it. You play as a woman. There's some guns. It looks like there's some psychic, like telekinetic powers, like a lot of like
dimension shifting.
Yeah, dimension. I was gonna say MC Escher-esque crazy stairs, kind of like Labyrinth meets Dark City, which is the if you follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/pressx to Alex, when they announced Twin Mirror, I had equated it to Dark City as well. I'm gonna make so many Dark City references. Anytime I can watch a city just get like re-terraformed, I'm like, that's Dark City. But I don't know. I mean, it's early. It's still coming this year,
right?
Or not this year, but next year. We have a title, we have a character, and we have an idea. Looks cool. It looks very Remedy.
Yes.
Ish.
The moment I saw it, I'm like, Quantic Break.
Right.
So
yeah, and it's not Alan Wake.
No.
It's not Quantum Break. So it is not a title that rhymes from them. So that's good. It could have been like Terror Lake. Fuck, it's the Ache trilogy. We're finishing it. But I mean, nothing really stood out for me from that. I think that's gonna be something we see more of, down the road.
Hopefully, Sans interactive TV show.
Honestly, I totally fucking forgot that game was gonna be shown at E3. Like,
that
was something they came out ahead of. And like, hey, you'll see more of a P7 at E3.
Yeah,
it's
I had
gonna
no
be on
clue.
all the consoles.
I totally forgot that was a thing they even talked about.
Yeah, kind of just got lost in the shuffle. So once it showed up, we were both like, ooh, Remedy?
Yeah.
And it was. But props also to 505.
Yeah, I know.
Man, because that was a publisher that just loved pumping out shit. And like they just kept like, seriously, I talked about this on an earlier episode when Remedy was first teasing the project, was that if you go to 505 Games' Wikipedia page to the games published and developed by them between when they were 505 Game Street and 505 Games, it's just pages. And it's just like shovelware after shovelware, but they've tightened that up a lot. And
what's
so
good for them though.
Yeah. So from there, on the topic of good for them though and tightening their shit up, we have it. It exists. It has a date.
Yeah.
Everybody's been waiting for it. Everybody's wanting updates on it. Resident Evil 2, the remake.
Just
January 25th, 2019. So this the trailer, you're a mouse. In the trailer, it's from the POV of a mouse scurrying about some shelves. You hear a tussle, a scramble of sorts between a man and something. The mouse starts navigating through like cereal boxes and things like that as they're falling. The shelf falls, crushes the mouse. It zooms out, and you see an old Zamboni there, old Zambi, eats an officer's neck. Then the door busts open, gunshot, and it's Leon Kennedy.
Like babyface Leon.
Yes.
Yes.
So I have not touched Resident Evil 2 since it came out.
I've never played Resident Evil 2.
Oh,
so
you're in for a treat.
I've played Resident Evil 4, 5, 6, haven't touched 7, and then a little bit of Revelations.
Okay.
I enjoyed 4. 4 is hands down amazing.
Sure. Considered by many to be the best.
Oh yeah, and revolutionized third-person over shoulder games for sure. Definitely made them a more popular thing. 5 was I played on the Xbox 360 and I loved. I played it, replayed it. A lot of people get a lot of crap, like, oh, it's more of an action game, and I'm like, I don't mind. It's fine.
Sure.
Once you take it as it is, it's great. 6 was
Yeah. That's kind of the consensus amongst most people, I feel like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a chance to play 7, really wanted to, but it was just at a time when like I had a bunch of stuff. I'm like all over the place.
Happens.
But Resident Evil 2 though, definitely
it looks
something
great.
Yes. Oh my
Like,
god,
it
gorgeous.
looks for being a game that, I played 20 years ago. It looks fantastic. Super polished. Got to see one of those real nice liquormen scaling a wall.
Oh yeah.
God damn, those liquors are terrifying.
I was real surprised that everyone been talking about it, an HD remaster for Resident Evil 2. After, what they've been doing.
Time.
So I was like, okay, we'll get a remaster. I was not expecting a from the ground up.
Oh, I mean,
remake.
I
was like, oh shit.
You had to at that point. Because You saw, because like we saw like the ground up remaster on the GameCube for RE1, but then like RE2, RE3 were just straight ports,
Right.
And so I think if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. You
Oh
know?
yeah. You pay the game its dues. I recognize the history that game has,
Sure.
and what the franchise recognizes it to be. So the fact that that's doing it, I am all aboard.
Yeah, I mean it looks great. I think a lot of people have been pining to see more from that. Capcom continues.
Oh my god.
We were talking about that during the stream, right?
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned once Resident Evil 7 kicked off, they've kind of just been on this roll.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say I got into it with somebody on Twitter, but I argued. Somebody said they were like between Resident Evil 7, Devil May Cry, Monster Hunter. And now, you have RE2 involved in this too. And there was another title I think they threw out that the name escapes me. Who has a better, like resurrection story than Capcom? And I argued Ubisoft does.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, seriously,
like
if you had to pick between the two, it's equal. I think at least. But
whereas
like
Ubisoft puts out a lot of games, whereas Capcom's put out these smaller not niche, but they've put out games not as frequently.
They sit on a lot of franchises.
Oh yeah,
they have a lot, and they don't always utilize them. And we're starting to see that now with like Mega Man coming out with Mega Man 11 at the end of the year, and they're capitalizing on a lot of on a lot of more dormant franchises.
And I mean, not even that. Like, you got to take a look at Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V got a lot of crap when it first launched, and what they've done with that since then.
Yeah. I think that was peak Capcom just shitting the bed.
Yep. That's when they. Well, I don't know. Marvel was Capcom Infinite.
Yeah. Okay. That was peak Capcom shitting the
bed. So I mean, but yeah, they've definitely turned it around, and they're has shown no signs of stopping, so that's awesome.
I hope they keep it up, because I mean, we need more Capcom. If Konami could get their shit together, that'd be cool too.
Right. I need a new Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Hey, you're getting the anime Smash Bros.
Oh yeah, the Jump Force.
Yeah, Jump Force.
IGN put out an article asking for like characters they wanted. Yama-Yugi was in. I'm like, all right, cool. Let me summon Slifer. Let me just ruin people.
So it moved on. This was thinking about it, right? So Trover Saves the Universe is the new Squanch games from Justin Roiland. Also the only PSVR game they showed at the showcase proper. So in the pre-show...
Yes. And it's not even truly VR. It can be played, yeah.
So prior to... As opposed, in lieu of doing a pre-show, they did small announcements Wednesday through Sunday. And those were... it was Twin Mirror was Wednesdays. Thursdays was the release date for Days Gone.
Yep.
Friday was... then there was...
Beat Saber?
No, that was Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Saturday was Ghost Giant. And the other one's escaping me.
There was a Tetris Effect.
Tetris Effect was the first
one. Yeah.
Tetris Effect was Wednesday. That's PS4, PSVR.
Yep.
Then Thursday, yeah. So we've gotten 2 PSVR straight games, 1 PSVR PS4 game in what would have been the pre-show, and then we get Trover Saves the Universe, which is from Squanch, which, I mean, their games fucking sell gangbusters when you check the actual like top downloads for the PSN store.
Yeah.
For the month when they come out. Like Virtual Reality is always up there. Accounting Plus has been up there, and I don't think Trover Saves the Universe is going to be any different. Like the humor is always, it was a very funny trailer.
Oh yeah. I don't have a VR, so I've been wanting a reason to play one of those. So the fact that this is coming strictly to PlayStation with PlayStation 4 gameplay and then VR, I'm like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, like I'm excited to actually be able to check one out. But suspiciously absent, PSVR was.
Yeah.
This was really focused almost entirely on PS4 and PS4 Pro.
Well, it makes you wonder. So I mean, E3 for the past few years has been like, they've been sectionized things with PS4, PSVR, and then Vita or Sans Vita, depending on what year you're looking at.
It's been a while,
yeah.
man.
But they've definitely kind of chucked things out there.
Sure.
Now that we're at the end of the PS4's development life cycle, as they announced last week or 2 weeks ago, some time ago, we're going to start seeing more games. I wonder if, with it being E3, we're going to see more things that appeal to a bigger fan base. And then at PSX, we see more VR titles
Yeah,
along with the indie scene.
Yeah.
So 'cause that was another thing that was pretty noticeably absent were indie
Sure.
games. So
Yeah. I mean, they focus pretty much on the heavy hitters this time around. After Trover Saves the Universe, we got, for the third fucking time this week, Kingdom Hearts 3.
I
This
don't give a shit. That's a new trailer. And you know what? It's got pirates. That's
I know.
all I fucking want.
So that was the big thing. So between the Xbox conference, the Square conference, and now the PlayStation showcase here, we've gotten validity. We already knew Toy Story, we already knew Monsters.
Yep.
We already knew Tangled, and we've already known Big Hero 6 despite having not seen anything from it.
Yeah.
So we've now added Ratatouille, which was at the Square conference in like a brief scene, and then added Pirates. We've added Frozen, and then kind of extrapolated more on Toy Story and Monsters Inc. between the rest of the three here. Like I said, I've never gotten past Tarzan and Amazon. That trailer, none of the three trailers have made any fucking lick of sense to me. Like, I'm hearing the music and I'm like, I feel like I should be crying, or like I see a character like at the two trailers, from the one from Microsoft, the one from Square, both ended with that woman picking up the Keyblade and saying it's too late, Mickey. So I need you just spin me some yarn here about how you're feeling about KH3 here.
I was pleasantly surprised with the Pirates gameplay. I was not expecting to go back to Pirates of the Caribbean, let alone At World's End, especially since that movie came out in 2008. So I was expecting to go back 10 years with that.
That's one of the first movies I almost walked out of.
Really?
Is that the third one?
Yeah.
God damn. We went the midnight release of that movie.
Oh, that's a long ass movie to go.
Credits rolled. We literally ran out of the theater to our car. We were the first ones out of the garage.
Jesus.
I hated that movie.
It was it was long. So I mean, it was
fucking sense. It's kind of like Kingdom Hearts.
Exactly.
So
it fits.
It's fitting they're going to World's End.
But yeah, I mean, we saw a lot. We saw some returning characters we thought were gone for, with a lot of Organization 13 members. I was very surprised with we saw a lot of things that were different. So we saw Riku's Heartless form from KH1. Wasn't expecting that at all, along with another Riku there. So I don't know if that's just a new outfit for Riku, or if like Riku got a nobody like Sora did when he became a Heartless and Roxas. So that's awesome. Another big thing we took out of that is that they announced a new limited edition Pro console. See, they did it right and announced a Pro console for that, but I can't get a damn Blue Days of Play console. Fuckers. So we got that, and it looks like, if I interpret it correctly, it was kind of like vague. You could get the Pro console and it'll have 1.5, 2.5, 2.8, and 3 all in one package. So that'll be ungodly expensive, but it was a very slick looking console for Kingdom Hearts fans. So
I bet it'll still come at $450.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, it's a $60 game.
I'm banking 500. That's more than 4 games. That is more than 5.
No, that's not a value.
You don't think?
That's not a value.
You'd be surprised what Kingdom Hearts fans will pay.
Yeah, I feel like you're...
Well, okay, let's be real. So they announced the Kingdom Hearts Collector's Edition today, too. And that's $230.
Is that the one with the statue?
The 3 figures, yes.
Okay,
and
yeah,
a steelbook case.
The 3 figures.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not a statue. God, if it was a statue, I might be on it. They're toys. I don't want them.
I'm glad you're a fucking man with expectations. Oh, no toys. Statues.
I want that thing I can put on a shelf and not pose and stay there and collect dust and look pretty.
Right. So moving on from there, it went to the third big gun, right? It was Death Stranding gameplay.
Yeah, gameplay.
So it was a trailer with some gameplay interstitched in there.
Weird baby butts.
We got it was a baby butt. It was
Naked
real nice infant ass, if you like that sort of thing. It's real smooth.
God, I hope not.
We got Norman Reedus' character's name of Sam Porter Bridges. We've seen they added to the cast with Lindsay Wagner and Leah Solu.
I didn't remember her last name, but
yeah.
I couldn't tell you who played who.
The female protagonists, or the female characters, kind of added in after being rumored of being Emma Stone. It's Lindsay Wagner, so cool your jets. Small bits and pieces in there outside of the gameplay, which looks great. I love like the scale when he's climbing stuff.
Yeah.
The environments look great. The terrain looks awesome. But the one thing I noticed was before Norman Reedus's Sam goes out. Before he hooks the baby up at the end of the trailer, right?
Yeah.
He says something, and the person over the radio says, "Yeah, sure, but if those things get you, sure, you'll come back, but it'll still leave a big crater."
Yeah, I was really surprised.
There have been rumors and speculation that the game is fully interconnected and will play out over other people's games too. Where like if you do something and you die and you leave the crater, it'll actually affect other people's games,
which is
very Kojima,
very ambitious.
The social connectivity and things like that we've heard. So while none of that was confirmed and we didn't get a date or anything, it leans into the rumors we're hearing about Death Stranding and the social connectivity and everything like that. Didn't really answer who like Mads Mikkelsen was.
Yeah, what the fuck? Where's Mads?
The various like timelines that are going on, because we know about like the time rain.
Yeah,
I forget what it's called. I know it's definitely not called Time Rain. Kojima's much smarter than that.
Sounds like an ooey ball title.
So yeah, again, another Death Stranding show where it kind of raises more questions than it answers.
Yeah, like where's Guillermo del Toro?
Right,
we haven't seen him since
the second trailer, 2017 maybe 20. I don't know. Yeah. 2016 was just the Reedus and the "I'll Stop Coming" song and the whales and the crabs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I was kind of hoping we'd have a marginally better understanding.
Or at least a release window. You didn't think a release window would happen? 2020?
2020.
PS5?
We're too far away from... I mean, that was a prediction. We're too far away, I think, from the actual release date for us to be, like jumping on what one would be. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the exclusives and stuff like that, too, like I said, we still only walked away knowing the date for one, and that was the one we knew heading into it. But then, what was your take on Death Stranding? What were your thoughts?
It was awesome seeing gameplay. We've seen this game year after year.
Very stealth. It feels like
very stealth. Very much more storytelling than it is action oriented.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Because I'm looking back on it, I don't really remember like any glimpses of combat.
No, not at all.
It's a lot of sneaking.
Saw him climbing things. I saw him walking through paths. I saw him interacting with this new female lead. That was about it. But I mean, that's more gameplay than we've seen, so I'm happy with it. I mean, again, just like you said, there was a lot more questions raised. I still don't know what the hell this game's about.
Right.
So, but I mean, it looked gorgeous. I'm excited with how pretty it looked.
Decima engine, man.
Yes, Kojima knows his engines. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, he pulled that from Gorilla.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Do you know the story when he was shopping for engines?
Yeah.
And he was like, I want that one. And Gorilla sent it to him. Then he sent it back to them and was like, hey, I fixed your lighting. And they were like, oh, cool, thanks. We fixed this because you fixed the lighting and sent it back. So they've like bounced the engines back,
which
and forth
is really
each
cool.
Other. Yeah, like I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
I mean, I'm excited.
Great. I'm gonna buy it.
And see, I'm afraid I'll do with what I did with Metal Gear Solid 5, where I'll buy this game, I will claim I'm excited, like, yes, I can't wait to play it.
Sure.
And then I don't.
I want to do a video much like later down the road once things have settled down, but like I have this weird, just innate like love for Kojima and his games, and it has nothing to do with like the art or his artiste kind of style. It's just there was a brief moment where Metal Gear Solid kind of just like brought me and my brother and my dad together over a game, and it was really the last game that did that for us.
Oh, okay.
And so I have this just innate love, and I've gotten like a little bit into Sons of Liberty. I've gotten a little bit into Snake Eater. I've gotten, a little bit into Guns of the Patriots, but nothing's ever gripped me the way like Metal Gear Solid has. But I go out and I buy them, and I buy iteration after iteration after it. And it's solely because like I have that love for Metal Gear Solid because one, that was a game that we bought on 12/28 of 98 when we got our PlayStation 1 at Biggs. Oh, dude, I remember that. That is a very vivid day for me. But also because, that game, that single game was the one that like has all around the couch. It ushered us into modern gaming, but also was that game that brought us all around the couch to see what was going to happen next. Or if like my dad stayed up one night to play it, we'd wake up the next morning and be like, what happened? And he'd like catch us up. And so like, I still like, I don't know how many times I've bought a Metal Gear collection.
Oh my God!
Just because I'm like the memories I have
had no
for Metal Gear
problem
Solid.
with it. Like
No.
I totally am like this is justified. I don't see any issue with why I'm purchasing this. Yeah, no, Metal Gear's always been kind of a special thing for me too. So the first memory I ever had of it was Metal Gear Solid 2. Mm-hmm. I was at my great grandmother's house. It was a Sunday. Everyone was there for Sunday dinner at church and everything. So it was my uncle and an older cousin of mine, and he bought it, and he brought his PS2 over. Mm-hmm. So we were sitting there playing, taking turns. It was tail end of the game. And I'm, God, back then I was maybe 8 or 9. So I had no idea what I was doing.
Prime Metal Gear
exactly.
age,
I'm a naked riding, running around, covering my joints, and just doing that. And then I fight this giant Metal Gear at the end of it, and I was like, that's the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Right.
So then another big memory for me was Metal Gear Solid 4. Actually, the first midnight launch I ever went to at GameStop.
Oh.
And I remember standing in line. I just got home from football practice, and I'm in line. I watch this guy walk out with the first copy. He's running out cheering. He gets into his car. It doesn't start. It dies right there. And I'm like, and I walk in, I get my copy. I go home. I do this massive install, and I watched Solid Snake smoke the cigar like a champ.
Right?
Yep.
Ah, brilliant.
Oh, so good.
So Death Stranding, again, didn't...
Not a whole lot.
I mean,
but
we got to see some gameplay, and I like the fact, again, kind of going back to what we said about Ghost, no HUD, like it feels like the baby is going to be crucial because the baby operated the sip, 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 that whatever.
So
that's
it probably
called.
senses whatever these creatures are,
right?
Which is
And
cool.
it made them more visible, and then you're sneaking around them and everything. So I guess we'll see more somewhere between Tokyo Game Show, Paris Games Week, and PSX, maybe.
And I think we'll see it PSX. I don't think we'll see it. Tokyo Game Show, I feel like, it's lost a lot of steam in the past few years. I remember when it was a huge thing. I used to love Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah.
I think the last big thing I ever pulled away from that was DMC Devil May Cry when that was coming around. After that, I can't think of anything huge.
Okay. Next, what do you have next?
Next was what we mentioned, as I mentioned earlier, Neo 2. We got a quick little trailer of that. That was cool.
Did you play Neo?
No, I didn't. The Souls-esque games have never tickled my fancy at all. Mm-hmm. I can appreciate what they are, and I understand why people do it. But at the same time, any game that's going to piss me off that much, I'm like, I'm not giving. No, I don't.
Right.
I don't want that.
Right.
I play games to relax and enjoy myself, not to want to lose my shit.
And like, I'm not a big Souls guy either. And I know at some point somebody just grabbed their radio out of their car, just chucked it out the window. I'm like, fuck these guys. But like, yeah, I tried Demon Souls, didn't really like it. Just not, like I said, I don't want to play games to just be inherently frustrated.
Yeah.
Like if I was in a mood to just like torture myself, sure, I'll dive right into like that, or Salt and Sanctuary, or Dark Souls, or Dark Souls 2, or Dark Souls 3, or Bloodborne. I just
see, at the same time, so I got Bloodborne, and I want to try it. I haven't played it, but I want to try it. I don't know why.
If you have PlayStation Plus, everyone has Bloodborne.
Exactly. But I have interest in it. I'll get to it sooner or later. But also, I played Cuphead. But I mean, that game is difficult as hell. But I love
that's a bullet hell platformer.
Bullet hell platformer, and it's just pretty, and the music's great, so I can justify playing that. But everything else, I don't see the point.
And for me, like like I said, like it's just not worth it to me just to be that inherently frustrated to play a game. I mean, I can appreciate the sense of satisfaction you feel, when you finish something that you've struggled on, but I don't want to just like. When I install a game, the first thing that crosses my mind, I don't want it to be, this is going to be hard as fuck.
Right. I'm going to fucking hate myself.
I'm good. Like, I already know I'm shitty at video games. I don't need to be reminded of it.
I don't need that solidified in my mind more than it already is.
You can get good me in the comments all you want, but you can also just fuck right off. Like, I know I'm bad. That's why I don't play games online.
Yeah,
I'm going to hold you back like a chain attached to a tree stump attached to another chain attached to a house.
Yeah, like I when I get online and I have the mic, I immediately apologize. Like,
Sorry,
I'm
guys.
Sorry.
I was the guy that like, hey, do you want to play Call of Duty? It's like, yeah, I get online. They keep shoving me into the other teams. Like, you're on their team. Like, ah, damn it. So
Like the last kid picked in dodgeball got the deal.
No, I was not the last kid picked. I was the kid that ran up to the dodgeball game late, and they're like, "Ah, fuck, who's losing? Put him on that one."
Whose turn is it?
All right, like, ah. So the minus the From Software announcement that started right at the beginning of the stream here, it closed with Spider-Man, which they have seemed to be a thing they like doing recently.
Yeah, and I don't get it with it this close to launch.
I'm gonna talk to you about that.
So
it opened on the raft. So which is the jail that it's like the Spider-Man Arkham of sorts, and he's navigating through it gorgeously.
Oh my
god.
God.
And seamlessly, I might add, which I'm sure we'll get to in the gameplay. So we ran into the villains of Electro, Rhino, Scorpion, and Vulture on top of Mr. Negative.
Right.
So you, as the resident Spider-Man man that you are, I'll let you kind of run with this one for a minute, and then I'm gonna spitball you a theory that I've been pitching throughout any chance I can.
All right. So I mean, it starts off with Spider-Man and Yuri, I think was her name, being on a helicopter, and then the raft is under siege. Electro kind of wreaking havoc and everything, setting villains loose left and right, and then it's just boom, 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 new villain. Like, so they're definitely utilizing the rogues gallery, which was one worry of mine, because everything else we've seen, it's very much just been Mr. Negative. I think we've seen snippets of Kingpin here and there. So I was like, okay, so I don't know how much. I think
at some point, like I said, I think we saw Shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just like, and Shocker's been such a joke villain in a lot of the games the past few years. Like, I remember fighting him in Ultimate Spider-Man on the PS2, and it was literally just a matter of I whip up his hands, he fries himself, and that's the fight. That's it.
Right, yeah, as one does.
Right, and that's totally fine. So I'm really happy to see that and how utilized they are, because you're going at these guys. I mean, we didn't see a whole lot of gameplay individually fighting them. It was more cinematic wise when it came to them. But it's really cool is that we've got all those characters, so it makes me feel like Sinister Six will be involved, which is
right.
One way Sony can get a Sinister Six thing out there, because the movie definitely didn't work. So it's really cool we got that there. Mr. Negative has definitely taken a bigger presence. We did see at the end of it that Mr. Negative mentioned that he said he wants him alive,
right? Which
was really cool. So that means Mr. Negative has been pitched as the big villain for the game, or as the overarching villain. So now that we know he's working for someone, that there's another wrench in everything, which it could still be Kingpin, but at the same time, we don't know.
Could be a Norman Osborn.
Oh, I'd love a Norman Osborn.
Something like that.
Defoe. And
it just transitions into Beyond Two Souls.
I'd buy it still. I don't care. Defoe. Nice. And but we got that, and we see Spider-Man just get pummeled like at the end of it, and it's just like, that's different. We've seen more of a lighter atmosphere for the past 3 years. We've seen the game.
That's sort of like just badass. The player takes the reins of the control of the hero. Like you see when you saw like the Arkham demos. Like, it's just this like 5-minute trailer of just pure ass kickery. And this one ended with, like you said, Spider-Man just getting pummeled,
right?
Because it starts with Scorpion stabbing him,
like
with the tail, and then it's like, just like down, getting
electrocuted, getting curb stomped, all of it. So,
and it ends with him crawling to the edge of the building of the raft, turning up after being shocked and stabbed and ran over and everything else, and Mr. Negatived. I don't know what his power is. He turns and he's like squints a little and he says, "You?" as like a question, and it cuts to the title.
Yeah.
If I may.
Okay.
If you want to go into Spider-Man just blind as fuck, you probably should have turned this off like 10 minutes ago. But my prevailing theory on Marvel Spider-Man.
Okay.
And I pitched this a few weeks ago when I was on another podcast on the PlayStation broadcast, predicting different things about different Sony exclusives. I think we're getting Sons of Liberty here. I think where they showed when they first did the demo for Metal Gear Solid 2, it was the tanker mission. and it turned out that was the first thing you played, and you play most of the game as Raiden, and then you kind of come back, and it's saying, like it deviated from, it subverted a lot of
I can
expectations.
see where you're going with this. But okay.
Now there was that trailer
Uh-huh.
at E3 2017
Yes.
that ended with Miles,
Yeah.
and everyone was like, "Oh, is that like a cameo?" And the people at Insomniac were like, "No, he plays a bigger role than just someone who sees him. He plays a bigger role than just this kid on the street."
Yeah.
And I think what we saw and what we've seen is the first part of the game.
Totally.
I think everything they've shown from Spider-Man so far is within the first 2, maybe 3 hours of this game.
Okay.
And I think because you're playing as experienced Peter Parker,
Right.
and there's these RPG mechanics of leveling up and expanding your abilities and learning new powers and learning new. And if you're playing as experienced Peter Parker, and people have been like, "How is that skill tree going to work?"
Right.
They've just been like, "Haha," and they've been really cagey about the response. Right. So my theory is he just gets the shit kicked out of him there. Like that is his Batman Nightfall moment.
Okay.
And he gets bailed. He gets bailed out by, I don't know if necessarily Miles per se or something, but I think it's going to lead into a passing of the torch.
Okay.
And that's going to carry the rest of the game. That's your skill tree. That's your
That would be awesome.
developing everything else. Because everything we've seen is this super technically finesse,
Yes.
Peter Parker with the, with this caustic wit and things like this. And yeah, like I said, like anytime they've been like, what's the skill tree? What's this? It's been like it works.
Right.
You'll see.
Like, it'll make sense.
And the best way I think for it to work is you're playing as like max level Peter Parker, and then you hit the
break down
valley
the-
and you have to start as, someone new, and you're learning how to be Spider-Man.
Okay.
That's my theory.
Right.
On Marvel Spider-Man. I think that's why maybe why the suit changes and things like that too.
That sounds good. I like that.
That's it for me. So so we've now seen, like I said, save for Nintendo, we've seen the conferences. Like Nintendo can still drop a big old hammer tomorrow, but where does this conference rank for you among the other ones you've seen?
I haven't seen Ubisoft. I saw Bethesda, Microsoft, and a little bit of Square.
Okay.
Right now, I still feel like Microsoft, just with, they came out to get like, hey, these are our issues, we understand, and they're taking the ball and is potentially going with it, with buying all those new studios, pretty much already saying like, hey, we're going the next gen now, like we're working on it. It's already there. They've already announced there's already a code name leaking around with Scarlet.
Yes.
So
yeah,
that's looking pretty good. Sony definitely a very close second with just kind of game, just leading it there because they've been top dog. They don't have to do a whole lot to stay there. But then Bethesda right there afterwards.
Okay. In a way I agree. I still think Microsoft brought the best one, like you. And we talked about earlier, where they kind of brought the Holy Trinity together for the first time.
Yes.
With Forza, with Halo, with Gears. There's not been an E3 where it's been all three of them at once. There's the studio acquisitions. There is that humbling themselves at the gaming altar to be like, look, like it wasn't quite like Happy Gilmore apologizing to Chubbs, but it was still that humble moment of being like, hey, look, we understand, we fucked up, we're gonna go back to the Microsoft, here are these games, here is our commitment. It was a lot of long-term goaling. Ubisoft, I thought, brought a really truncated conference this time around. I didn't feel like it ran a half hour too long.
Right.
It brought, like, Assassin's Creed looks good, it's coming in October.
Yeah,
so I was
awesome.
wrong there. We saw some more Beyond Good and Evil, the partnership with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, where like you can compose music, you can do art, and like you'll get compensated for it if it gets selected for it in the game. I think a lot of stuff like that's really cool. The building off of Mario and Rabbids, including Donkey Kong now, Starlink, or I keep calling it No Man's Skylanders, but Starlink games incorporating Star Fox.
Yeah.
I think Ubisoft's doing a lot of stuff really well right now. There's the commitment to For Honor. There's no Splinter Cell, which was weird.
Yeah.
I thought that was I was surprised there. I thought that was, I kept calling it the worst secret of E3, and here I am. It wasn't even a secret. It didn't even fucking happen.
Yeah, that's. I mean, when was the last time it was The last Splinter Cell game was Blacklist, right?
Yes.
And was that? I don't feel like that was announced at an E3, was it? If that was, it was in passing. I don't remember it being a huge deal until it got closer to launch. So who knows?
And then Bethesda for me, they bring a lot. A lot of stuff looks great. I'm just not really.
Yeah,
they're not my kind of game. They're not the games that I'm seeking out to play. Like
exactly.
Doom Eternal looks tight.
Right.
Like I will. Yeah. I mean, like that looked great. In terms of where Sony's Sony's conference ranks among all of those right now, I'm kind of with you where it's like in the second. Mm-hmm. I think UB would be third. I think the Sony thing is partially just because I'm surprised by what else they brought. Like they didn't have to focus on like, oh hey, like we've got all these other exclusives. Like Neo 2 will be one, Ghost is one. The four main. We already know about Days Gone, Beat Saber, the VR titles, things like that they can just have this stranglehold on because they're the only ones, or it's their own proprietary studios. But then we saw with like Square, like with Babylon Falls and the Quiet Man. I almost called it the Ghost Man. But like, so we know there's other exclusives in the chamber, but like ones we're not necessarily like gonna focus on.
I was really surprised that they weren't more of a presence, even just like in a little hype trailer at the end of it at the Sony press conferences they were in with Square. And I was really surprised with how much I predicted to go on Sony's show and it ended up going with Xbox. I was like, wow, okay. So that was very different.
So, I mean, a lot to take away from, a lot of surprises, but as a whole, of the big four they focused on, they brought it.
Yeah.
And then the third party stuff, they promised, it was there, and there were still a lot of surprises, like, throwing Neo 2 out there, throwing Resident Evil 2 remake out there. Still a lot of suspiciously absent titles that I think people were maybe anticipating from like Rocksteady and some other stuff from like Eidos and Square and things like that. Still a lot of suspiciously absent games going. But I think good, not 2016.
Right.
I maybe would put it ahead of 2017 just because I think the caliber of titles was good. I think it started rough.
Yeah.
With that dead time as they transitioned to another
that
locale seemed kind of unnecessary. But in terms of like in the last 2016, 2017, 2018, second best.
Yeah.
I'd put it ahead of last year's. I would say I'd put it ahead of 2014.
Yeah.
Maybe 2015 with like Shenmue and Final Fantasy 7 and Last Guardian and all that.
Surprised at the lack of Shenmue. And I don't know why. I mean, the game is. I mean, honestly,
they're boring as fuck.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, it's that, but they've gotten a pop every year. So it was really surprised. I mean, maybe they're just not trying to pull a Last Guardian where they keep showing it off and it just doesn't, and it takes a while.
Right.
So they're not trying to like, we're not gonna keep simulating this if it's not gonna go anywhere. Right away. So that's a good play, I guess.
Yeah. So I don't know. Tomorrow is Nintendo's conference, and we have the rest of the week. But for us here, this has been the PlayStation Forecast, your PlayStation E3 2018 post-show reactions. If you want to support the show, like I always say, the best thing you can do is subscribe on YouTube. If you're listening to this show, subscribe on your podcast service of choice. Leave a review. Hopefully we'll do more of these with other PlayStation exclusive shows. Maybe get the live streaming during the conference actually figured out, because that was man, that internet shat the bed.
That was
hard.
And it was just out of nowhere. It was going, I'm like, okay, audio's off, got that fixed, and all of a sudden it just
but that happens.
You know,
as we do these things.
Exactly.
Thank you again. 2 weeks in a row joining. It's been a pleasure.
Me always.
So if you want to write in the show, psforums.pressxtoalex.com. If you want to support the show, subscribe on your podcast service of choice or on YouTube. Help me get that short URL. Also, there is a new Monday morning Let's Play that is up. It is Walden the Game from USC Games and USC Game Labs. It's super relaxing, and I'm terrible with a hammer. But for all of us here at the PlayStation Forecast, thank you again, Alex. Have a great rest of your E3, everybody, and I will talk to you all next week. Next week will be a little different. I'm not going to be here. So I'm going to pre-record something. I did a Twitter poll, and it's going to be my favorite games on PS4 so far.
Oh, okay,
so
cool.
That's going to be what next week's episode is going to be. So it's not going to be the news or your traditional formats. Just heads up on that. So I'll talk to y'all next week. Take care.